Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to parent older children. I feel like when you're a new mum and you have young children, you spend, or at least I did, a lot of time researching what to do, how to be a mum, how to do things, what other mums' experiences are. There's a whole wealth of information out there, but once your kids get a little bit older, there's a lot less. People talk less about their struggles and the things that they find difficult and how they overcome those things. So I thought I would chat to you today just about my experiences. Obviously it's very personal to me and to my children and my life, but I think sometimes it's nice to hear somebody else's thoughts and ramblings about something, and it can help you to put your own into perspective. So hopefully if you have older children or you have younger children and you're just wondering what it's like when they get a little bit older, like I did when my eldest two were a lot younger, then stay tuned. This video is also a collaboration with some other mums that I follow here on YouTube, specifically Nikki from the channel Fopaholic. She's a mum to twin baby boys and she made a video all about the lessons that she's learned since becoming a mum, so definitely head over and check her out once you've watched this video. I will have her details for you in the description box. So the first thing that I've learned about being a mum to older children is about control and how difficult it is to let go of your end of the reins and let them gain more control for themselves. So when they're little, I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old at the moment, and when they're that sort of age, you are in control. You control what they eat, who their friends are, I suppose, outside of school, who they see and who they socialize with, what time they go to bed, what they wear, what they watch. Everything is pretty much within your control, or at least you have a significant amount of say about things. But as your kids get older, naturally and rightly so, you need to let go of some of that control and let them have a little bit more for themselves over their own choices. And I, for one, really struggle with that. I find it really hard to accept that I need to let go, but as time is going on, and I think now that they've started secondary school and they've started this new part of their journey in their lives as they're growing up, that has become slightly easier, because with that step has come more independence that's kind of been forced upon me. So being in secondary school has naturally made them that little bit more independent and needing to have ownership of certain things, like packing their school bag and knowing what their homework is and finding their way around the school and making new friends. And all those things have helped me to take a little step back and trust that they will make good decisions and just feel a little bit more relaxed about the control switching from me to them a little bit more. There will be struggles, I'm sure, along the way over who has control over what, but for now I think that natural progression from primary to secondary school has helped me and them make that little shift. So the next thing I've learned about being a parent to older children is to change your approach when it comes to communication. So the days of asking them question after question at the end of a school day to find out how their day was is not going to cut it. Some days they will sit and talk to me about their day and what lessons they had and what they learned. Other days you can just tell you're not going to get very far. So on those days I like to take a different approach and just try and sit down and chat and not ask any questions at all. So just sit down and be there, talk about something completely unrelated that they are interested in, and will engage them in a conversation, and then you'll soon find that from that comes a much bigger conversation, and you can usually find out a few things about their day that you might not have otherwise. So definitely take a step back, stop with the questions, and just sit and have a relaxed chat. So the next thing I've learned is to try not to feel rejected and put out when they need you less and they want to spend more time with their friends. And again, this is what I find really difficult. But after spending years and years in each other's pockets with them, following you to the toilet and everywhere around the house, it's really hard when all of a sudden they just want to spend all their time in their rooms or on FaceTime to their friends or going to the local town centre to hang out with their friends. And that can be a difficult adjustment, at least it has been for me sometimes, when they would rather go out and do something with their friends instead of stay at home with me and watch Disney movies, I don't know. But what I try to remind myself is that I am their safe place. I am the person that they will come to 9 times out of 10 if they've got a problem or something that's on their minds that they want to talk about. It's me that they'll come and talk to, and it's perfectly normal for them to spread their wings a little bit and find a little bit more independence. And not only is it normal, but it's really important as well. So the next thing I've learned as a parent to older children is to stay in touch with their interests. And this one actually comes quite naturally to me because I think I am basically a big kid inside a grown-up's body. But I always remember my dad when I was growing up, and he was a carpenter, and he used to work away in his workshop listening to Radio 1, and he knew all the latest songs, the latest bands, he would know all the words, and I just thought that was really cool. I remember being a teenager, driving along with him in his van, and he'd have Radio 1 on. Occasionally he'd have a bit of Kenny Rogers country and western music as well, but for the most part it was current music, and he knew the stuff that I was into, and that gave us a real connection, and I remember thinking that that was really cool. And luckily for me, I like the music that my kids like to listen to, and I watch a lot of YouTube as well, so we can kind of connect on that level. And I try, even with the things I'm not so interested in, like Minecraft and other video games that I don't really have an interest in, I try to take an interest and educate myself a little bit about the things that might be interesting to them, because that connection, as daft as it may seem to you when you're learning what redstone is in Minecraft, means the world to them, and it gives you some common ground. They appreciate that you have taken the time to listen and learn about things that are important to them, and it's just a small thing that can make a big difference. And luckily for me, a lot of the things that my kids are into, I can appreciate and enjoy too. And the final thing I've learned about being a parent to older children is not to be afraid to tackle the tough subjects. Now, this is one that I would dread when my children were younger. Like, how do you have the conversation about sex and puberty and all those really grown-up subjects that seem a million miles away when you have a tiny baby or a toddler? But it's been kind of thrust upon me on a number of occasions where I've had to just take a deep breath and address the subject. My eldest son came home from school one day when he was quite young. I can't remember exactly how old he was, but one of his friends in school had told him in no uncertain terms how babies were made. And he came home from school and asked my husband and I, is this true? Is this how babies are made? And we were both like, whoa, we weren't expecting this on a Tuesday night. But it forced us to just address the question he had asked in an honest and open way. And actually, that little boy did us a favor, because since then, we've been really open about it, and we probably always would have been, but maybe we wouldn't have addressed the topic quite so early on. I think he was something like 7 or 8, so he was quite young. But because we were forced to have the conversation, we were just very factual, very honest and open. We gave him an opportunity to ask questions. He didn't really have that many. I think he was a bit grossed out by the whole thing, and we moved on quite quickly after that initial conversation. But it just laid a really good foundation for us to have difficult conversations in an open way. And I think it's really important. The last thing you want is your kids being too embarrassed to ask you a question or to raise a subject and not knowing who to talk to. That would be my worst nightmare. I want them always to feel like they can come to me and ask me anything and everything, and I will help them without judgment. So I guess what I'm trying to say is sometimes the most awkward of situations where you just want to crawl under a rock and not be an adult in that moment, sometimes those situations lead to the most open and honest conversations. And I am, to this day, forever thankful to that little boy who told Dylan how babies were made, because it saved me having to bring up the subject. So those are some of the things I've learned so far about being a mum to older children. I hope you found it interesting. If you have older children, what are the things that you've learned and things that have helped you along the way? Let's have a chat about it in the comments, because I'm sure I have an awful lot more to learn. If you enjoyed the video, then do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as well if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.